In 2010, the world population was at 6.84 billion. The population keeps increasing more and more each time, and that's how overpopulation occurs. First of all, I'll tell you guys what overpopulation is. Overpopulation is when there is excessive people in an area and it strains resources and facilities. When there is overpopulation in an area, the amount of water, food, and land is not sufficient for the amount of people. High birth rates are a cause of overpopulation. When the birth rates start increasing and death rates decrease, people use the resources faster than they are produced. If there's not enough food or water, that's when people start going through malnutrition, which means that people aren't getting the sufficient or none of the nutrients they need for them to be able to survive. Global warming, pollution, and dirty water are the biggest effects of overpopulation. So remember, it not only affects us humans, but it also affects our Earth. There are countries that are already overpopulated, and I will name the top 5. The number 1 country is China, the second one is India, the United States, followed by Indonesia, and lastly Brazil. Now let's focus on the second to highest overpopulated country, which is India.
India's population is set to double in the next 50 years and surpass China's. The government says that while India's population grew by 1.4% in the last 5 years, China's population saw a mere 0.6% growth during the same period. While India's population will increase to 161.38 crore by 2050, China's population will only be 141.7 crore. The Union Health Minister says the North Indian states have not been able to stabilize their population.
India's population boom occurred when India gained their independence from the United Kingdom about 60 years ago. India's population was around 350 million. Since 1947, the population of India has nearly tripled the size. India passed the 1 billion mark in the year 2000. In 2011, India's population was recorded to be 1.21 billion, and in 2012, 1.22 billion. If the population continues to grow at such a high rate, India's population is estimated to reach 1.53 billion between the years 2025 and 2050. India will become the country in the world with the highest population. With the high population, India needs to be able to sustain the people that live there. China is bigger and is able to maintain the population that they have. India does not have as much land as China does. With the high population that India has, they are already facing problems such as declining water tables due to over-extraction. Food resources are also limited. Population explosions result in the shortage of even the most basic resources like food. According to an article by World Bank Group, more than half of all children under the age of 4 are malnourished. 30% of newborns are underweight and 60% of women are anemic. The government of India cannot provide the everyday nutritional requirements to everybody in India. There is not a large amount of fresh drinking water for the people and animals. India, being a third world country, lacks the economic infrastructural base to provide a living for most people. 55% of India's population, or 645 million people, are living in poverty. Overpopulation causes more pollution and harms the environment. In order to have homes for the growing population, about 8 million hectares of forests are taken down a year for irrigation and to build new homes. With more trees being cut down, India receives less oxygen. There are also more pollution and harmful chemicals being put into the air. There are not enough jobs for the entire population of India, and that is why most live in poverty. Families that live in poverty do not have enough money to send all the children to school. At least 35 million children between the ages of 6 to 14 do not attend school, leaving them with little or no education at all. There are also lower life expectancies in countries with faster growing populations and low birth rates due to the mother's inability to receive medical care and resources to sustain a fetus from fertilization to birth.
There are some factors that led India to being an overpopulated country. First of all, the birth rates in India are very high because Indians believe that kids are a gift from God. Most Indians believe in Hinduism. In Hinduism, having a boy shows continuity. So if they don't have a boy, they keep having kids till they have one. Illiteracy is the main cause for overpopulation. Illiteracy means that they don't know how to read and write. In other words, they don't have any or enough education. Women are also not educated on birth control, so they can't use it without knowing what it is or how to use it. Indians have 5 to 9 kids to help farming and agriculture. They believe that the more kids they have, the more money they will receive. Indians' total fertility rate was approximately 6 children per woman.
If India does not lower its population, it will not be able to sustain itself. Slowing population growth takes time unless they resort to drastic solutions. Family planning needs to begin because putting babies back in the womb, or even a worse alternative, is not an acceptable solution. India was the first government in 1952 to launch a national program focusing on family planning to stabilize the population at a level consistent with the requirement of national economy. The government of India has organized several programs to limit the population increase and has spent millions of dollars on controlling the birth rate. Some of the programs have been successful, and the rate of increase has also reduced, but has still not to reach the sustainable rate. In order to solve the problem of overpopulation in India, support, financial and political, must be given to promote and facilitate birth control. India uses cash bonuses to slow the high birth rates. There are nurses that go door to door convincing couples to wait on having children. The nurses go to newly married couples' houses and give them the proposition of waiting 2 years before getting pregnant, and they will be rewarded by the government. If the couples cooperate with them, the district government will pay them 5,000 rupees. Indian scientists have invented a birth control injection for men that has been 100% effective and works up to 10 years. The injection is called RISUG, short for Reversible Inhibition of Sperm Under Guidance. The polymer that is injected kills all sperm on contact and prevents new sperm from arising. Indian health officials have decided to offer cars, motorcycles, and televisions in exchange for sterilization. The Chief Medical Office of Rajasthan's Sharma hoped that about 30,000 individuals will volunteer to undergo sterilization in attempts to control the Indian population. India spends so much money on incentives to convince the people to help lower the population increase. Instead, they could use the money on educating the people of India. Education desires men and women to move up in the economy and will be more likely to postpone getting married. When women have an education, it teaches them self-efficiency. They don't need a husband to take care of them. Also, when women are educated on birth control and contraceptives, they learn more about family planning and are more careful when they decide to start a family. In Kerala, India, the literacy rate is 90% and has the lowest child mortality rate and lowest growth rate. And in Uttar Pradesh, India, where they have the lowest literacy rates, they have the highest growth rates and the highest mortality rates. This proves that education has a big part in the solution to overpopulation in India.